Hello friends, I welcome you in lecture number 24 on double integrals. In this lecture we are going to discuss double integrals in polar form. So far we have seen double integrals in Cartesian coordinates x and y. We have seen this type of double integrals up to this before this lecture. So we will be discussing double integrals in Cartesian coordinates x and y. Now we are going to discuss double integrals in polar form. So first we recall the relationship between Cartesian and polar coordinates. Suppose we consider some point, say order pair xy, where x and y are Cartesian coordinates. Then if we consider the perpendicular from this point P on x-axis, suppose this is x-axis, this denotes y-axis, and if we consider the position vector of this point P, and suppose this is origin, suppose this is point M. So if we consider that angle made by this position vector with positive x-axis is theta, and if length of OP is r, then we know that cosine of theta is nothing but this length of this OM divided by OP, and this distance is x, so we have x divided by r. Similarly, sine of this angle is PM divided by OP, PM is y, so y divided by r. So from this we obtain x equal to r cos theta and y equal to r sin theta. And because this is right angle triangle, using Pythagoras theorem we have square of OP equal to square of OM plus square of PM. So this gives us r square equal to x square plus y square. So where r is polar coordinate, theta is polar coordinate. Also if we consider tan theta, then tan theta is given by PM divided by OM, that is y by x. So therefore tan theta is nothing but y divided by x. So these two equations are nothing but relationship between Cartesian and polar coordinates. So if we use polar coordinates, our point P can be represented by polar coordinates r comma theta. So sometimes we are given double integrals in polar form. Instead of fxy, we will be given function of r and theta. So we have to find out value of double integral with respect to polar coordinates r and theta, where this r is the region bounded by polar curves. That means curves will also be in polar form. Bounded by polar curves means equation of curve will be in terms of r and theta. So we are going to discuss how to evaluate double integrals in polar form, how to find out limits of r and theta, and then how to evaluate this double integral in polar coordinates. Before that we understand that how to convert our given curve in terms of polar curve. Suppose we consider a circle with center, origin and radius, say a, x square plus y square equal to a. So if we want to write down polar form of this circle, then we will put x equal to r cos theta and y equal to r sin theta. So as we know, x square plus y square is r square, so we have r square equal to a square, and r is nothing but a. R is always considered as positive. So this is Cartesian form of the circle, and this is polar form of the circle. So whenever we have given that r equal to a, then we will remember that this represents a circle with center, origin and radius r equal to a. So r equal to a is the polar equation of circle with center 0 0 and radius a. For example, if I have r equal to 3, then I will consider this circle with center 0 0 and radius 3. So this is radius is 3, center is origin. So we must be familiar about this type of polar equations, and if we are not familiar, then we can convert our polar equation in terms of Cartesian equation, and then we can identify. So if we don't know what is r equal to a, then we can convert it in Cartesian form. Suppose we take square on both sides, we have r square equal to a square. So we put x square plus y square. R square is written as x square plus y square. So from this also we will have the idea that this is the equation of circle with center origin and radius a. Now we consider one more polar curve. Suppose I consider this equation in polar coordinates, r equal to 2a cos theta, and I want to determine that which curve is represented by this equation. So I will use polar coordinates, relationship between Cartesian and polar coordinates. So I know that x equal to r cos theta. So I can replace cos theta by x by r in this equation. So if I replace cos theta by x by r, I have r equal to 2a into x. Now I take this r on left hand side, so I obtain r square equal to 2ax, and now I put r square equal to x square plus y square. So I have x square plus y square equal to 2ax, and this is nothing but equation of circle, x square plus y square minus 2ax equal to 0. So if we compare this equation with general equation of circle, 2gx plus 2fy plus c equal to 0, if we compare this equation with this general equation, we can see coefficient of x is minus 2a, so we have 2g equal to minus 2a, that is g equal to minus a, and there is no y term, so 2f is 0, that means f is 0, and c is also 0. So we know that this is a circle with center minus g minus f. So if we consider minus g, we have a and f is 0, and radius is given by square root of g square plus f square minus c, but here f and c are 0, so under root of g square, that is under root of minus a square, that is going to be a. So this is the equation of circle, which is circle with center a0 and radius a. So r equal to 2a cos theta represents the circle with center a0 and radius a. So either we can remember this equation, that this is general equation of a circle with center a0 and radius a, and if we are not comfortable to remember, we can obtain the Cartesian form, and then we can decide the type of curve. So for time being, we will remember that r equal to 2a cos theta is nothing but equation of circle with center a0 and radius a. So if this distance is a, this is going to be 2a. So we can roughly sketch this circle. It will pass through origin, it will intersect at only one point. So whenever we have this curve, if we remember, we can directly sketch the curve. So this is the circle. Suppose this distance is a, so circle with center a0 and radius a. So because this radius is a, this point is going to be 2a comma 0, this is origin. So this is r equal to 2a cos theta represents a circle with center a0 and radius a. Suppose I have r equal to 4 cos theta, then I will compare with r equal to 2a cos theta and I will determine this circle center of circle and radius. So I will obtain a equal to 2. So this is a circle with center 2 0 and radius 2. So in this way we can determine the type of polar curve. We will require to sketch the polar curve to determine the limits of r and theta. So either we can remember that r equal to 2a cos theta represents a circle with center a0 and radius a, or if we forget, then we can go in this way. We convert our polar curve in terms of Cartesian curve and then we decide what is that curve. Similarly, if we consider r equal to 2a sin theta, suppose I consider r equal to 2a sin theta. So we know that y is equal to r sin theta. So I can put sin theta equal to y divided by r in this equation. So I have r equal to 2a y divided by r. This implies r square equal to 2ay, and this gives me x square plus y square minus 2ay equal to 0. So if we compare with standard form, you will obtain g equal to 0 and 2f equal to minus 2a, that is f equal to minus a. So center of this circle is minus g minus f, that is 0 comma a, and radius is same, radius is r equal to a. So this is the equation of circle with center 0a and radius a. So center is on y-axis now instead of x-axis. Center of this circle is on y-axis. So we can roughly sketch. We don't require perfect sketch, but this is just for understanding that how we will identify the given curve. So this is the circle with center 0a and radius a. So whenever we have this type of equation, r equal to 2a sin theta, then it represents a circle with center 0a and radius theta. Suppose I have r equal to 2 sin theta, then I can compare with this r equal to 2a sin theta and I can determine the value of a. So 2a equal to 2, if we compare both the equations, that means a equal to 1. So this r equal to 2 sin theta represents a circle with center 0 1 and radius 1. So in this way we can decide the given polar curve. What is the type of given polar curve? Similarly, suppose I have this equation y equal to x and I want to convert it in polar form. I will consider I will put x equal to r cos theta, y equal to r sin theta, and r will cancel out. We consider r as always positive. So this represents tan theta equal to 1 and theta is pi by 4. So this is Cartesian form of the line y equal to x, and this is polar form of the line y equal to x. So in polar form we represent line y equal to x as theta equal to pi by 4. Similarly, we know that on x-axis y is 0. So if we use that equation, y equal to r sin theta, so y is 0, so r sin theta is 0, that means theta is 0, so theta equal to 0. So x-axis can be represented by theta equal to 0. Similarly, y-axis can be represented by theta equal to pi by 2. So in this way we can decide the polar form of given Cartesian curve, or we can convert polar curve in terms of Cartesian curve. So we will need this type of things to find out the values of limits of r and theta in polar form. So now suppose we want to evaluate some double integral in polar form. Say f is a function of r and theta, and we want to integrate f with respect to r and theta over the region R. Now suppose our region R is like this. Suppose this is the region of integration. Suppose this lower curve is r equal to say h1 theta. It is a function of theta. And suppose this upper curve is r equal to h2 of theta. And suppose the angle made by this vector, I consider the point at which this region ends, and I consider the points at which this region starts. So I am considering for limits of theta, I consider lowest value of theta and highest value of theta. So our region starts from this point. So at this point we determine value of theta. Suppose theta is alpha here. So this is the line theta equal to alpha. And suppose angle made by this vector with positive x-axis is beta. Then this line is theta equal to beta. So theta is in between lines theta equal to alpha and theta equal to beta, and r is from h1 theta to h2 theta. And suppose we want to evaluate double integral in this region. So we can see here limits of theta are constant, theta equal to alpha to theta equal to beta, and r is function of theta from h1 theta to h2 theta. So first integration here is always with respect to r and then with respect to theta, as compared to Cartesian double integrals. In polar integrals we will always integrate first with respect to r and then with respect to theta. So now suppose I don't know the limits of integration. Here I am given the limits of integration, that r is from h1 theta to h2 theta and theta is from alpha to beta. Now suppose I don't know the limits of integration, then how to find out limits of integration? That we understand with the help of this example. So here we are asked to evaluate double integral of r cube sine 2 theta over the area bounded in the first quadrant between the circles r equal to 2 and r equal to 4. So here our function is in polar coordinates. The curves are also in polar form, but both curves are circles, as we know that r equal to a represents a circle with center 0 0 and radius a. So these two are circles with the same center, origin and radius are 2 and 4. So first we sketch the region of integration. R equal to 2 means circle with center 0 0 and radius 2, and r equal to 4 means circle with center 0 0 and radius 4. So first we try to sketch the region of integration. So I just sketch the circles and then I will give the scale, so that I don't have any problem in the sketch of circles. Suppose this is the circle of radius 2, and because this distance is 2, we consider same distance, and we consider another circle of radius 4. So we just require rough sketch, but I will take care that it will look like a circle. Okay, fine. So This is circle with center. Both these circles are of center 0 0. This circle has radius 2 and this circle has radius 4. Now our region, okay, so first we mention that this is this circle r equal to 2 and this represents this circle r equal to 4. This is x-axis that we can represent by theta equal to 0. Y-axis can be represented by theta equal to pi by 2. Now our region is the area bounded in the first quadrant between the circles r equal to 2 and r equal to 4. So we have to find out the area between these two circles which lies in the first quadrant. So we can see this is the boundary of r equal to 2 and this is the boundary of r equal to 4. So our region of integration is this one, between r equal to 2 and r equal to 4 and in the first quadrant. So this is the region of integration over which we will integrate. So our region of integration is bounded between r equal to 2 and r equal to 4. It is the region between two circles r equal to 2 and r equal to 4 in the first quadrant. So we want to find out value of double integral over this region. So this is the region of integration. Now we have to determine the limits of r and theta. So to determine the limits of r, we will imagine a ray starting from origin and passing through the region of integration. Our region looks like this. It is region in the first quadrant between two circles. Okay, it looks like this. And suppose this is origin. So to determine the limits of r, we will remember that we will imagine a ray starting from origin and passing through the region. So either we can imagine this ray or this ray. It must be inside the region of integration. It will start from origin and it must pass through the region of integration. So there is no problem. You can consider this ray starting from origin in any part of the region of integration. So we will remember that to determine the limits of integration for variable r, we will always consider a ray starting from origin and passing through the region of integration. So this is a ray starting from origin and passing through the region of integration. Now on this ray, the variable theta becomes constant on this ray and the variable r is changing. Now to determine the limits of r, we will find out the points at which this ray enters the region and leaves the region. So we will consider the points at which this ray enters in the region of integration and ray is leaving the region of integration. And on this part theta becomes constant. So we will determine the value of r at these 2 points and those will be the limits of integration. So for lower limit we consider this point. This point is on the circle r equal to 2. So here we will write that a ray enters at r equal to 2. So the point at which ray is entering in the region, at that point we will decide the value of r from the curve on which that point lies, and that will be the lower limit of r. Now we find out the value of r at the point at which ray is leaving the region. So ray is on the circle r equal to 4. So here we write ray leaves at r equal to 4. So we have obtained the limits of r. So first we mention this thing that we imagine a ray starting from origin and passing through region R as shown in figure. So then we determine the value of R at which ray enters the region and leaves the region. So we obtain the limits of integration for variable R. So first we write down the limits of integration for variable R. They are from R equal to 2 to R equal to 4. And now we decide the limits of theta, another variable. So to determine the limits of theta, we will concentrate on the smallest value of theta for the region. So we can start from this point. At all these points, the value of theta is 0, and the value of theta at all these points, largest value of theta possible for the region is pi by 2. So to determine the limits of theta, we will find out the smallest value of theta and largest value of theta that bound the region R. We will find out the smallest value of theta. Here smallest value of theta possible is 0 and largest value of theta possible is pi by 2, and they bound the region R. So we are starting from this point. This point is okay, this is up to y-axis. So we start from this point. At all these points value of theta is 0, and we are considering in this direction. So we have to go up to theta equal to pi by 2 to complete the region. We are starting from this point, that is theta equal to 0, and to cover the region we have to consider this type of rays, and the last point is this one which is on y-axis. So at that point value of theta is pi by 2. So the limits of theta are from theta equal to 0 to theta equal to pi by 2. So in this way we can decide the limits of integration for polar coordinates r and theta. To determine the limits of r, we consider a ray starting from origin and passing through the region of integration, and then we decide the value of r at the point where this ray enters the region and at the point at which ray leaves the region. And to determine the value of theta, limits of theta, we find out the smallest possible value of theta and largest possible value of theta which bound the region R. So here we have obtained the limits of integration for r and theta. So we are able to find out value of double integral. So and here double integral is always in this order. It will always be first with respect to r and then with respect to theta. So our function is r cube sine 2 theta. So therefore double integral over r cube sine 2 theta dr d theta, this is equal to r is from 2 to 4 and theta is from 0 to pi by 2 r cube sine 2 theta dr d theta. So first we integrate with respect to r. So for that we will consider y as constant. for this inner integral, not y, here we have theta. So while integrating with respect to r, we consider theta is constant. Here theta is from 0 to pi by 2. Theta is constant, that is sine 2 theta is also constant, and integral of r cube is r raised to 4 divided by 4. So we keep sine 2 theta as it is. Integral of r cube is r raised to 4 divided by 4, and limits of r are from r equal to 2 to r equal to 4. So now we substitute values of r. Theta is from 0 to pi by 2, r equal to 4. So 4 raised to 4 divided by 4, that is 1 4 will cancel out, 4 cube sine 2 theta minus r equal to 2, that is 2 raised to 4, which is 16 divided by 4, that is 4 sine 2 theta, and then we integrate with respect to theta. So now we consider this sine 2 theta common, and this is constant quantity 4 cube minus 4 sine 2 theta d theta. Now these things are very simple. Here we can take 4 common, so we have 4 square, that is 16 minus 1, and integral of sine 2 theta is minus cos 2 theta divided by 2. Theta is from 0 to pi by 2. So this is 4 into 15, and here we can take minus 1 by 2 outside. So we have cosine of 2 into pi by 2, that is cos pi minus cosine of 0. Here we have taken minus 1 by 2 outside. If we wish, we can write one more step, 4 15 minus 1 by 2 cosine of 2 theta 0 to pi by 2. So when theta is pi by 2, 2 will cancel out cos pi, and then theta equal to 0, and this 2 will cancel out with this 2. So we have minus 15 into 2 minus 30. Cosine of pi is minus 1, and this is also minus 1. So this is going to be minus 30 into minus 2, that is going to be 60. So in this way we can obtain the value of double integral in polar form. It is very easy as compared to Cartesian coordinates. Here order of integration is always with respect to r and theta, and we just have to remember how to find out limits of r and theta. So I hope you like this lecture. In the next lecture we will do some more problems related to double integrals in polar form. So thanks for watching. Thank you very much.